Why do you support Donald Trump?
Yeah, we can get back on the topic you and him were discussing, right, about the trans situation. I would agree with how that situation's been handled by Trump. Um, Basically, him denying federal funding to specific schools, right, about them entering sports and all that stuff, you know what I mean? And also him openly stating in one of
Would you say
his,
you care about
uh,
women?
of course,
And you say you're doing this because you care about women, right? You want to protect women's spaces.
wait, I'm doing what because I care about women?
You're saying that you don't think trans people should be allowed to play in sports because you quote unquote care about women and you want to quote unquote protect women's spaces, right?
Oh, well, no, that's not the claim I made.
So you don't care to protect women's spaces.
No, no, I do. That's just not the claim I made.
So
But
you
like, I'll tell
so,
you why I agree with
so
it.
you do care to protect women's spaces. Would protecting women's spaces include like not allowing for like men to barge into like the changing rooms of women without their consent?
Absolutely, yeah.
So like, would you ever vote for a candidate that ever did that themselves?
That ever barged into a room
Yeah,
with
the
a
changing
woman?
rooms of women without their consent.
Yeah, I believe that you can agree with the policies put in place by a president without agreeing with like some
So
actions
like
that
you
they've.
would. So like,
Well, yeah, that's what I said.
what happened to protecting women's spaces?
Well, no, I do agree in protecting women's spaces, right? Like that's why I agree with this specific
And
policy.
also,
Now,
this isn't
obviously,
just women; it's also teenage girls.
no, no, yeah, I understand that. That's what I'm trying to tell you, right? I'm saying like I do agree with protecting women's spaces, right? But I don't agree with the fact that he did that. So obviously, I'm not advocating for that. What I'm advocating for is the specific policy that he put in place, which did protect women's spaces, right?
Okay,
So
wait. So
again, you
you
can
don't
agree with the policy,
so you don't
but
care about protecting women's spaces in general. You just like to say it here whenever you're doing something that's harmful to trans people.
why are you like strawmanning what I said?
Well,
That's
I'm just
not even
saying
close
you
to.
seemingly don't give a flying about women's spaces, like protecting them at all when it comes to the person
No,
you
I do.
voted for. But then, like specifically when it comes to trans people, then you really care about it. By the way,
Parker,
right?
that would only be the case if I said that I'm gonna ignore what he did, right, or say it's okay, which I didn't do. So I don't like know why you're strawmanning my argument into that.
Well, you're
I
saying that
never said
you're
that.
willing to support him in despite of that. So then, why would that get you to like stop supporting Democrats?
So I never supported Democrats.
Okay. Well, you're saying like this is a reason why you support Donald Trump. So you're giving a reason why you think Democrats are bad is that they want
I
trans
don't think
people to be
Democrats are
able to
bad.
play in sports.
Parker, I don't think Democrats are bad. I never said that. What I'm trying to
Well,
say
okay.
to
Well, then
you
you're
is,
saying that preferable that Democrats are not preferable to Trump because this is the case that
yeah,
Trump
yeah, we'll
doesn't
say that.
want trans people in sports.
We'll say that. And that was only like one instance that I gave of why I agree. But like I'm saying, I'm not saying what he did was okay, right? I don't think anyone would say that, right? But I'm saying that the policy he put in place was to protect women's spaces, even if an action that he committed didn't do that, right? I'm not advocating for that action, right? I'm advocating for the policy that was put in place. Okay, like that's what I'm trying to like assert here.
But you voted for him. Do you think it protects women's spaces to vote for a candidate that did that? Doesn't that normalize that behavior more?
If
I
he
don't
put
think
the
that protects
policy in,
women's spaces at all.
well, Parker, I just told you how it did, right? He put a policy into place that does protect women's spaces. That's what I'm agreeing with.
But
I'm not
by the
agreeing
way,
with what he
I just want
did.
to let you know, doesn't protect women's spaces at all. Can you name one women's sports team?
One woman sports team in which sport?
Any sport. He scrolled out of the app.
I didn't scroll out of the app. What?
Yes, you did. I saw you pause.
No, I went on mute because the dog was trying to get out the door. But
Then why didn't you just
anyway,
click the mute
uh,
button? Why'd you swipe out of the app?
I did click the mute button. I literally did click it. Look, I went literally what I did.
No, you didn't, because it literally showed me you paused out of the app.
Well, if I did, I didn't mean to. But so, which sport were you? Which sport?
Any sport.
Um, I guess for the WNBA, I'll like Liberty. We'll go with that.
Liberty?
Yes,
Where are they from? Like what location?
What does it matter where they're from?
Yeah, I'm
What
just
does it matter?
asking
I don't.
what's
What does it matter where they're from?
what's the
Like
location?
I watch their games, right? I don't like know where they're
You don't know,
from,
you
but
don't
I watch
even
their games. I don't.
you just said Liberty. He doesn't even know. He doesn't even know from where.
You asked me to name a sports team, right? I
Where are
gave
they
you a
from
sports
though? Like
team.
what's like like the Seattle Seahawks, for example. Like they're out of Seattle. Like where are they from?
Parker, I understand that, right? But that doesn't hold any relevance to what I'm saying to you, right? You asked me to name a team, and I gave you a team, right? Like, I don't have to know where they're from to know what the team is, right? And that they're a women's sports team, which is what you asked
You don't
originally.
know anything about women's sports.
Like, you're trying to
Like
pull a gotcha, so you're like,
no.
you want me to like,
The funny part is you know nothing about women's sports, right? And then you're like, dude, I want to protect women's sports. You clearly don't care about women's sports, but let's talk about it. Let's
you didn't
address it.
specify.
Let's address it as if you do care about women's sports. Okay, let's address this, right? Okay. Did you know that like after multiple years of HRT, the biological advantages you're pointing to in terms of trans women being in women's sports don't exist to a manner in which you would say are unfair after
Define
multiple years
HRT.
of HRT?
Define HRT.
Hormone replacement therapy.
Okay. And why would that render this irrelevant?
Because after multiple years of hormone replacement therapy, the same types of biological advantages aren't prevalent.
Right. Well, that wouldn't be irrelevant, right? Because up until that certain point where you would apply those years, we still have, um, say, like after 6 months, right? Um, those differences are still very relevant, right? Say a
No,
year, those
not
differences
really.
are not after 6 months.
After multiple years of HRT, it's
I said
not.
6 months, Parker. I said 6 months. I said when we get to those years, sure, but before that, they're still relevant.
I'm confused. How so?
Well, okay, so you said it after a couple years,
After a
it
couple
renders.
years of HRT, so there's two conditions. There's HRT, a couple years of HRT, and there's also
Yes,
without a male puberty. Given those particular conditions, it's not just like that you have to have both. It's that it's an and/or situation.
yes, I understand that,
Like if
Parker.
you
What I'm
haven't gone
saying,
through male puberty, you get it, and if you've gone through multiple years of HRT and that's the only thing you've done, you can also get it, right? You can also because like after those sets of conditions, right? There's not a point in which it's unfair. There's no good evidence indicating that it's unfair at that point. And so,
I'm not.
wait, are you saying that trans women should not be allowed in women's sports because it's quote unquote unfair? Is that your argument?
I didn't say because it was unfair,
Oh,
right?
okay. Well,
I
then what's
believe
your argument?
you have to like let me talk so you understand what it is, right? Like you haven't let me talk
Then
at all.
I clearly have let you speak.
Well, like yeah, but every time I try to offer a point, you like interrupt. What I'm trying to say here, right, is I believe that you are what you're born, right? So I don't believe, regardless of whatever you take, right, regardless of whatever HRT you take, I believe that you are what you're born, right, and that we should keep specific sports to the specific group in which they were biologically born.
Why?
I also believe, like how y'all were talking about, like,
Wait, I asked why. I
um,
asked why.
kids. Oh yeah. Well, like I said, it's just about protecting women's spaces, right? Because most, and I'm not, I won't
In
say
what
most.
way does it protect
Some
women's spaces?
Well, I'm trying to like explain that to you. So some women wouldn't be comfortable with that, right? Some women would. So if we have a situation to where one is comfortable with it and one isn't, what do we do in that situation, Parker?
Okay, I'm asking you. Would you be okay with racial segregation of sports at a certain point in history when white women weren't comfortable?
Would that be analogous to the situation?
Under the level of argument that you gave, because you said comfortability was the argument.
Comfortability? Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so like if white women weren't comfortable, right? Would you say that's a good reason to segregate black women out of the women's sports?
No, I believe race is a different situation.
Okay, so then
No, I wouldn't.
clearly the argument of just quote unquote being uncomfortable is not an argument to segregate people from a space,
Well,
right?
wait. So if you're advocating for like women's safe spaces, why would you say it doesn't matter whether they're comfortable or not? That doesn't really make sense, does it,
Wait,
Parker?
repeat what you just said?
Yeah. So you're advocating for like women's spaces, right? Like women's safe spaces, but you're saying it doesn't matter if they're uncomfortable. How does that work?
I'm not just saying it doesn't matter that they're uncomfortable. I'm saying that there's no principled standpoint that just because it is the case that there's some level of uncomfortability that exists, that means that people should be kicked out of the spaces. Do you have like
Well, that's why I
evidence?
asked you.
So,
Yeah,
so
that's why I asked you if there's a situation to where one is comfortable and one isn't. What do we do in that situation?
in this situation, right? If there's one person who's uncomfortable with what,
With a transgender person playing on their team.
tough
Or like say going into their locker room. So what do we do if one is comfortable and one isn't?
Wait. If we're talking about locker rooms, I believe in private locker rooms across the board for everyone, right? I don't believe in this
Okay.
idea that we should be changing in locker rooms in front of even members of our same sex. Like, I don't want, I didn't like
Okay.
that. Like, when I grew up in high school, I thought it was weird that I had to see someone's cheeks changing after we swam. That's weird.
Yeah, I did
I
too.
want
I
to be
did
in a
too.
private changing room. That's weird that we have to change in front of everyone. Like,
Right.
honestly.
Yeah. So I agree with you on
I
that.
would
Yeah.
always go to the stalls. Like, I just think it's really weird. Like, I don't like that at all. So obviously, like, yeah, we can talk about, if you want to talk about uncomfortability, let's talk about doing private changing rooms like that, please.
Okay. Yeah, I understand. I would agree with you on that. So let's just keep it to the sports team then, right? One's comfortable and one isn't. So we just say it doesn't matter if you're uncomfortable. We're going to put her on the team, and that's that.
So yeah, if there's particularly one person that's like, I don't want trans people to play, I wouldn't restrict trans people from playing because there's one
No, I gave you
transphobe.
a hypothetical. No, I gave you a specific hypothetical, right? In the situation where there is one person saying that they're comfortable and one person saying that they're not, right? There's only
For
two
me, it's
people in
not
this
about
situation.
comfortability; it's about fairness.
Okay, so why is it fair to allow this person to play on the team if one is comfortable and one isn't? That's not really fair, Parker. That's not how that works.
Wait, comfortability doesn't determine the fairness.
Well, I would disagree with that.
What do you mean?
I believe so. In order for something to be fair, right, it has to be equal in all situations. You would agree.
I wouldn't say it necessarily has to be equal. No.
Okay, so how would you define fair? How would you apply that
Yeah,
here?
like, would it be fair for us to play basketball against each other?
Would it be
Or us to play
fair to?
football against each other? Yes, it would be fair. Like, we're both dudes, right? Under
Yeah,
your view, it'd be fair, right? So then, here's
sure.
my question. Here's my question then. Then, do we have equal attributes? No. So obviously,
I
then
don't
that's
know.
not
I mean,
true.
I don't know if we have equal attributes. I don't know. Like,
What?
yeah, I don't know how tall you are, how much you weigh. I don't know any of that.
Well, I mean,
Like, I just
would you agree that like you think you can compete with people who don't have equal attributes to you?
sure.
I'm just assuming that I don't have equal attributes to anyone in the chat, right?
Okay, sure. That's fine.
Yeah, like
So, like, yeah, I asked you how you would define it, though. I didn't want an example. I'm asking you how you would define it, so we can like move forward with that understanding.
how I would define what.
Fairness. Like you gave me an example. I understand.
It's hyper contextual. How do I define fairness? It's gonna be within certain thresholds depending on the sport we're referencing.
Okay.
But
So,
like, to be totally honest, like, practically in most circumstances, right, it's not gonna be unfair. Like, I like
yeah.
this narrative you're creating out of, oh, trans people playing in sports and it's bad for women's space is crazy. Like, I actually don't think that this is a good argument at all. I think there's no basis in reality of this, and I think that people are just bringing this up because they have no good arguments for Donald Trump.
Well, no, this is the only argument I've brought so far. How do you know I
Then
don't
go
have
ahead,
any? Like,
provide a different one.
can I, wait, can I finish with this real quick? Because I had like another example.
Totally, if you'd like to.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. Also, the situation you and him brought up, right about, do you think it should be taught in schools, like to
What?
children, um, that it's okay to undergo this transition? Do you think that should be taught to like children, say middle
Yes,
school
it's
and
okay to be trans. Yeah,
middle school and elementary school?
yeah. What's wrong with saying it's okay to be trans?
Um, I feel like children are very impressionable, right? And if you have a teacher saying, "Hey, it's okay if you go and get certain parts of yourself removed or changed
Wait. That's
because
not where we're having the conversation with kids. We're saying that it's okay to be trans. That's all you're saying. We're not even
right,"
talking
and
about
there's
certain conditions of anything, of certain conditions of like having surgery or something,
oh,
or
wait,
like
wouldn't you
certain
have to?
what?
Wouldn't you have to
Wait,
for
we're
them
not.
to understand what it means?
You don't. No, you don't have to describe specifically the processes that you don't have to describe, right, everything as it relates to being
So we're just
trans.
saying it's
All you do
okay
have
to
to
be
do is
trans.
just describe that people are trans.
Okay, so we're just saying it's okay to be trans. That's it. That's all we're teaching.
Yes, that's for people who are in elementary school. Yeah, it's
Okay, what
age
about high
appropriate
school?
learning.
Okay, what about high school then? Forget middle school and elementary. What about high school?
Yeah, as long as it's related to other health classes and stuff like that.
So like SMEC
Yes,
ed?
at the same level in which we're taught other sorts of things related to that, then absolutely.
Okay, sure. Yeah, I would disagree. I still feel like teenagers at that age still don't have enough figured out for them to make that decision.
To make what
Like
decision?
I don't think a child
To
should
make what
ever.
decision? We're just talking about education. I'm not talking about making any decisions. What decision
I
are you
know. I'm
referencing?
saying the reason I don't think it should be taught in school necessarily, right, is because it's introducing this idea to them, right? Even if that's not the intention behind it, it's introducing this idea, and I
No,
don't think
I'm
colleges
sorry.
are.
It's not intro. Wait, by the way,
It
society.
is
Well, I'm
introducing.
sorry. Are you not living in? Do you not know how society functions? Do you not know the internet exists? Do you not know
No,
society exists? People can talk about the fact that trans people exist within school systems, right? And that's totally okay. The fact that you're trying to say, "Oh, you're exposing this to children. You shouldn't expose the
no, that's
existence of
not what I'm
trans
saying.
people to why is it
That's
such an
not.
issue to you to tell children that trans people exist and that it's
I
okay
don't
to exist if
understand
you're
why you keep
trans?
strawmanning my argument when I'm trying to
Wait,
specify.
wait. Here's my position. Is it okay to say that trans people exist and that right? It's okay to be trans.
I would say it is okay to say that there are people who have undergone this transition. I wouldn't say it's okay to do that. That's where I would
Wait,
disagree.
what's wrong with saying it's okay to be trans?
Because I disagree with like feeding into something that for the majority of people would be considered negative, right? Like I wouldn't tell someone who's depressed to like go purchase a, right? Like I wouldn't do that. So the same person I wouldn't tell someone with like gender dysphoria, hey, it's okay if you like go remove certain parts of your body, right, and disfigure yourself because you believe that the self identity is the reality of what the situation is. That's
Wait,
where I would
I have
disagree.
a question. Is it okay for people to get breast reduction surgeries?
Um, in what context?
Does that
Like just in
matter?
general?
Does that
Like in
fucking
general?
matter?
What's a broad question? Like I'm trying to understand why you're asking
Is
me
it
that.
wrong for them to get breast reduction?
Yeah, if they don't have
Yes.
like if they don't have like any
What?
medical if they don't have any medical necessity to do so.
Wait, yeah. Let's just say they want to. They seriously don't like
Well,
how
no,
big.
I wouldn't say it's okay. If it's
They,
not a
they they
medical
just don't
necessity, I
like
would
the
disagree.
size of them.
Parker, I understand what you're asking me. I'm saying no,
Why
I
are
would
you saying
disagree.
it's wrong for them to get that if they don't like the size of them? What the is wrong with you?
Well, you're asking me a question, right? Like I'm
Yeah.
trying to
Wait,
answer your
wait, wait.
question. Good
And
faith.
the wait. Why is that
Like I've
wrong?
been in good faith
Explain to
the whole
me.
debate,
Our
bro.
brace is wrong.
Are braces wrong? No.
Why not?
Braces, yeah, because braces don't feed into like a negative delusion, right? So,
What?
um,
Why is it a delusion specifically to like reduce the size of your breasts?
I didn't. I'm not making the claim that it is to reduce the size of the breast. I'm talking about like the transgenderism, right?
Wait.
Um,
So then, if someone who's trans particularly gets a reduction in the size of their breasts, can you explain to me in that context how they would be delusional?
yeah, I don't believe that because you don't like the shape or size of something that naturally grew on your body that you should undergo the surgery to disfigure
Can I
yourself
ask you a
just to
question?
remove it. Absolutely,
Have you ever
Parker.
watched Freaky Friday?
I don't believe I have.
Okay. Do you understand the idea of consciousness swapping bodies?
Consciousness swapping bodies. Would you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah. Like if me and my girlfriend, our consciousness
Mhm.
swapped bodies. I'm now in my
Yeah.
girlfriend's body, and my girlfriend's
Mhm.
in my body. In that
What
context, would it make sense to call me Parker and to call me a man?
would it make sense to call you Parker and to call you a man? If she's in your body, then yes, it would.
Yeah, it would make sense. So even though I'm biologically a female, it makes sense to call me a man, right?
Well, you're biologically a female.
Yeah, because I swap bodies with my girlfriend.
Well, you're not biologically a female, right?
Yes,
Because
I
you still
am.
have.
Yes, I am because I
Well, no,
swap bodies with
you
my
still have
girlfriend.
the dominant Y chromosome, so you're not
Nope,
biologically
nope,
a
nope.
female. Yes, you
I
do.
am literally in my girlfriend's body, meaning that I have XX chromosomes.
No, your consciousness moved into the body, right? We're not talking about changing the
Consciousness is
biological.
not chromosomes. What the are you
I
talking
didn't
about?
say, that's what I'm trying to say, right? Like you talked about the biological aspect of it, right? I'm saying you still have the same chromosomes regardless of whether your consciousness is moved to a different body, right? So say
No,
you went into her body. Yeah, so listen to what I'm saying.
no.
Say
Think
like
about it this way. Think about it this way. When I go into my girlfriend's body, I now have XX chromosomes.
oh, you mean like the body fully swapped around, not just like the consciousness. Because you said consciousness.
Oh my god, dude. Okay, think about it this way. My consciousness and my girlfriend's consciousness swapped
Uh-huh.
bodies. That means my consciousness in the body of my girlfriend and my girlfriend's consciousness in my body. Does that make
Right,
sense?
that's what I'm saying. So the swap of consciousness, which is what I just said.
Yes. So, in that context, you said it would make sense to call me a man even though I'm biologically female.
Well, I think it was like a miscommunication on my end. I was talking about like if I was talking to you, right? Like if she was in your body and I was talking to you, then I would still call like you a man. I was just like misunderstanding what we were
Wait,
saying.
wait. So if no, I'm referencing me, my consciousness in my girlfriend's body. Would it make sense to call me, my consciousness in my girlfriend's body, a man?
It would make sense to call the consciousness that, but not the biological body of that. No, I'd still say
Okay,
that's
but
a
like
woman.
when referencing the person, you when you're referencing their gender, you're referencing where their consciousness is, not where their biology
Whoa,
is,
whoa,
right?
whoa! That's a heavy assertion. Wait, hold on.
That's what you
So
just
when
said.
well, that is nowhere near what I just said. You said when you say gender, you're talking about the consciousness. Is that what you just said?
That's what you were talking about.
No, that is nowhere near what I
Well,
said.
because if you were saying that it totally makes sense to call me a man, even though I'm in my girlfriend's body, well, then you are clearly assigning gender to be based upon my consciousness and not based upon my biology.
Well, no, I answered within the specific context that you gave me, right? So you asked, would it make sense to call my consciousness a man? I said, okay, sure, yeah.
Yes,
But then I
exactly,
said, what
exactly. Wait, wait, wait.
but that's not analogous, right? And I'm trying to like
Yes, it
explain
is.
that to
That's
you.
totally analogous.
So if you let me explain it to you, right, it would understand. So I'm saying you asked me specifically the consciousness, right? If you said overall, would you call me a man or a woman? I'd say I would call you a man, right? But you asked specifically about the consciousness. But the reason that wouldn't be analogous here, right, is because in this situation, right, a trans person they're not swapping consciousness with a female, right? Do you have any proof to like back that claim?
What they're saying is there is an incongruence between their mind and their body, right? So what we're saying is that their gender is in reference to their mental commitments towards the social and cultural norms they're typically associated with a certain sex, right?
Yeah, no, that's completely not analogous here, right?
That is. That's
Because
exactly how I'm referencing it.
yeah, well, no, in this situation, right, it wouldn't be an incongruence, right? You actually
Yes, it
swap
is.
consciousness.
If I swap consciousness with my
Define
girlfriend, wait,
incongruence.
if I,
Define
yeah,
it.
yeah, for example, if I swap consciousness with my girlfriend and now I'm in my
No, I don't
girlfriend's,
want an example. Define incongruence.
if I swapped, I'm giving you an example to be able to describe it and then I'll give you a definition. Is that fine?
Okay. Yeah, sure, Parker. Go ahead, but
Yeah, so when I swap bodies with my girlfriend, right, it is the case that the incongruence is between, right, me in terms of my consciousness, right, and the body in which I am within, right? I, in terms of my consciousness, am a man. In terms of my body in that scenario, right, I am biologically female. So in that context, right, there is an incongruence between my gender and my sex because my gender is different than what is typically associated with it in terms of my sex. That's the
right. I
definition.
only like yeah. I only well, that's not a definition, right? But I only
Yes.
engaged in
Okay.
absurd
So
hypothetical.
then I'll tell you what it is. So it's when it is the case that someone right has a difference right in their gender to what
That's the
there's
textbook
typically
definition.
associated with their sex.
That's the
So
dictionary definition, the Harvard definition. Is
that's
that
how
what it
I'm
is?
using it.
Okay, so I can use it any way I want to, then, right?
Yes, you just have to provide
Oh,
the
okay, cool.
definition.
Yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And like I said, the only reason I engaged in this like absurd hypothetical was to prove how it wouldn't be analogous to the situation. But anyway,
How did it prove it's not analogous? I'm confused.
well, right. So given the definition that you gave of incongruence, right? You defined it as this kind of like mental confliction between you being stuck in a body that you don't believe is what you are, right? In a sense, like you don't believe that you're a male, right? You believe that I know deep down for some reason, whatever reason, that I'm a female just
Yeah, like
because,
for
right?
example, if me and my girlfriend swap bodies, I know deep down that I'm a man, even though I'm in my girlfriend's body.
Right. But in that
Totally
hypothetical,
coherent, right? Totally coherent. It makes
in
total
that
sense.
hypothetical, we actually have a reason for you to believe this, right? The reason that they believe this, what would that be, Parker? The reason you have to believe that in the hypothetical is because you actually swapped consciousness. So in the real world, what would that reason be? Explain that to me.
Wait, ask that again. Sorry.
Yeah, so you would have a logical right to say that, right? Because in your hypothetical, you actually swapped consciousness, right? So you have a reason to assert the fact that this is what I am, right? I know this is what I am. So in the real world, how would you apply that to this? Like, how would you say, I know this is what I am? I know for a fact this is what I am. How would that be? the case here?
The mental commitments. Just because you can't figure out who you are doesn't mean trans people can't figure out who they are.
So if I'm mentally committed to being a monkey, am I a monkey?
We don't think that there are mental commitments associated with being a monkey because it is the case that our notion of what a monkey is solely biological. But we do have descriptions of
Right, right,
gender that
right.
are not
Yeah.
biological. That makes sense.
You understand that gender is like a made up social construct, right?
That gender is a made up. Yes, gender is a social construct. Yes.
So why should we abide by this social construct and call it reality?
So we're just describing like genders that like gendered
I'm
characteristics that we
asking you
have within
why.
reality. Like that's
Well,
like
no,
that's
I'm
like
asking
saying
you.
why should we abide by names? Those are social constructs.
Well, let me try to clarify. So I'm
Right.
asking you why me, right, and my friends, say me and my buddy, right, why should we believe or why should we accept that this self identity is the reality of what the situation is?
That's what you do with names, dude.
No, I'm not talking about with names. I'm talking about with the transgender aspect, right? Why should we
Wait, but
believe?
like you're totally fine with doing self ID in terms of names. Now, I'm not providing self ID in terms of gender, but like even if I was, like it doesn't at all commit me to saying this.
No, I'm asking you why we should call this thing reality. I'm not speaking to the constructive aspect of it, right?
Because it
I'm
relates
saying
to the mental commitments that people have. I think that gender is something that's based upon their commitments. To, like, for example, I'm a man because of my commitments towards the social and cultural norms that are typically associated with the male sex as a prescription of identity. That's the reason why I consider myself a man.
so. Basically, whatever you believe yourself to be is what you are.
No, if I believe myself to be Superman right now, I'm not Superman.
In the context of reality, Berkeley.
I don't know what you mean by this.
Obviously, you can't. Yeah, in
Like
the context
if
of
I
reality,
believed
so obviously
if I
you
believed
can't be
I was
Superman.
7'6", I'm not 7'6".
Obviously, well, is that in the context of reality? Can you magically become 7'6"? Like, don't ask like,
As long as something's in the context of reality, sure.
right. So, like, don't speak outside the context of reality. That's irrelevant. So,
Well,
within the
that's what,
context,
okay, sure.
yeah, within the context of reality, um, the reason I disagree with self-identification being reality is because I believe that male and female within the mammalian species cannot be changed, right? Like we know they're not talking about they're changing their schmex, right? Like they're not transsexual. We understand that. Um, but I just wouldn't call this gender construct a reality because you understand that gender
Wait,
dysphoria
you don't
is a
think
real
gender
thing.
is real?
I don't think gender's real. No, I don't.
You don't? So are you a man?
I'm a male.
Are you a man?
I'm a male.
You can't say that you're a man?
I said I'm a male, right? I'm of the male species. Like ask contract
Male
question.
species is diabolical. Male is not a species.
Am I
By the way,
male is
so
not a
you
species?
can't say that you're a man?
What? Are you a man, Parker?
Yes.
Okay, good for you.
Are you a
I'm
man? A
a
man
male.
that's beating you in a debate right now. Are you a man?
You're beating me in a debate, Parker?
Yeah. So I had to,
Are
that's a
you actually serious?
I'm sorry. People, you know, if you know, you know.
If I know, I know.
It's a throwback to the Jubilee episode.
Yeah, I don't watch Jubilee. Like I debated with Charlie, right?
But
And
like
like,
but dude, you're a gender abolitionist. You're so progressive, dude.
well, listen, what I'm trying to argue
Seriously,
in good faith here.
guys, like
You're
seriously,
not
this guy is
engaging
so
in good faith.
progressive that he just became a gender abolitionist.
Why are you not like engaging in good faith?
I am.
You're not though.
How
Like
am I not?
you're trying to like throw hits and be like, "Hey guys, this guy is like being delusional or whatever." Like
I never
I
said you're being
understand.
delusional. I said you're so progressive that you're a gender abolitionist.
Are you making the claim that's a bad thing or like a morally incorrect thing to
I
do?
do disagree with gender abolitionists. Yes.
Okay. Why do you disagree with it?
Because I think that gender is obviously something that we can point to that's a real thing that people engage with, and I think that trans people's identities are valid and real.
Valid and real. Okay.
Mhm.
I would just argue.
I think that my identity as a man is also valid and real.
Well, do you have the dominant Y chromosome?
Uh, how do you? I don't know. I don't know. I
Just
don't
like
know.
a yes
Actually,
or no
I
on
don't know
that
what
part.
I have no clue what my chromosomes are.
You don't know what your chromosomes are.
No, I have no clue.
What does your birth certificate say, male or female?
My birth certificate says male.
Oh, okay, I understand. So we can just like logically assume you're a male.
Yeah,
Um,
it's most likely that my chromosomes are XY, but
right,
I don't
right,
know
right.
for
Of
certainty that
course.
my chromosomes are XY.
Yeah, but we can just like come to a logical conclusion. It's more likely than not that that is the case.
But can you say for certain that your chromosomes are? Oh, he just got banned. I wanted him to say that he can't say for certain that he's not biologically male. Like seriously, like actually, like I just want to clarify, like under his view, like especially if you do chromosomes, you can't say for certain that he's biologically male. That's something that it would be really interesting to hear him say.